Welcome to the Life of Logos podcast. I'm Ken, and you're watching Storytime with Ken. Today's episode is The Mountain. The theme centers around essentially being unequally yoked, right? So there's a story here with Chris and Amy. They're recently engaged, and they want to take really good engagement photos for their announcements that they're going to send out soon, right? So both of them say that they're really prepared for the trip. Chris, he's an adventurer by nature. He is an outdoorsman. This is what he does. He hikes every weekend. When he makes plans with his friends, it's always something like outdoorsy and adventurous. He has all the REI equipment, camping bags, sleeping bags. He has it all. Tents. That's what he does. So he's really excited because Amy says that she does this all the time too, previous to them getting in a relationship, and she's looking to get back into being more of that adventurous outdoor spirit. So Chris is like, all right, if I'm ready, I'm ready. So if you're ready, like, let's go. So Chris, he's taken all of this time to painstakingly pack his rucksack. So he has food, he has flashlights, he has cameras, batteries. He's got a survival guide. He's got a map, like a physical, I know you guys don't know what an old map is, but an actual physical map with creases in it and markings on it that shows their trail and where they are and where they should be in order to get to the summit of this mountain. Has compasses. He has all the stuff, right? So I know, like, when you're like thinking of like a thriller movie, you're like, who has the stuff? Chris has all the stuff, okay? There's never any question. There's never, ever been a question about Chris having the stuff with him to be prepared for any adventure he goes on. Now, Amy, this is his first time really being outside with her. Like, they've gone to the park, they've glamped maybe once, but she's usually like a hotel and brunch kind of girl. And if it's too much outside, she's like, we camped, we had an adventure. And Chris is like, well, that's not necessarily what constitutes as an adventure, but sure. So he asks, like, hey, Amy, do you need any help getting like your rucksack packed? I have first aid equipment, I have things for you, but like, just want to make sure like you're good. And she gets a little snappy with him and is saying, like, are you suggesting that I'm not prepared for my own trip? Like, of course I'm prepared. I got my hair done, nails done. I got a new outfit for this. Like, of course my pack is packed. Like, I wouldn't do all this extra stuff if. What are you talking about, Chris? Chris is a little annoyed, but he's like, all right, cool. Like, I have to trust you. I'm not going to press you on the matter anymore. I've asked you several times, and I don't want to rub you the wrong way. And we argue from time to time, so I don't want this to be an argument. So let's just get in the car and be on our way. So he gets his jacket, gets his pack. She gets hers. He puts her pack in the trunk. Let's go. So on the way there, Chris is explaining to Amy that there's not a lot of information about the mountain. People take pictures at the top of the mountain, and the views are breathtaking. So the view is a ridge line, and there's like a lake, and there are all these other like smaller, or some smaller, some bigger mountains. And beyond that, it's like you have to go to this first mountain to do the rest of them. Okay. So this is like an entry point to the rest of the mountains, but there's not a lot of information on like the topography, the geography, the trails, the wildlife they might encounter, and any like hazards or dangers from the people that have posted online about it. So Chris is just saying, hey, Amy, like, this is what I know. Have you researched anything? Is there anything that, like, I'm open to feedback. Like, is there anything that we should be on the lookout for? And Amy's very unengaged. She's on her phone, but she's looking at Reddit and reading stories, and she's on Storytime with Ken. And she's looking at Life of Logos podcast, and she's reading books. She's on Spotify. She's looking at Spotify rap. She's doing all kinds of things, and she's barely paying attention to Chris. And she's like, yeah, you're just talking at the side of my head. Like, chill out, man. I got this. You are bugging out. You need to think positively. You are over prepared for this trip. It's, from what we hear, it's a pretty straight, just hike up. It's not that big of a deal. We're good. And Chris goes, okay, cool. If you like it, I love it. Seems good. I'm not going to push the issue anymore. Chris puts on his favorite song on the radio, and they keep pushing. They finally make it there. They find a flat clearing where they can park. Chris pulls the car in, puts it in park, pops the trunk, puts his jacket on, and puts his back on his shoulders. But as he puts his pack on his shoulders, he looks over at Amy and notices her shoes. This girl is wearing fresh Lululemon everything. She got the track jacket on. She got the little leggings on with little holes in the calves. And she's wearing these little teeny heels. They look athletic, but they got heels. And Chris immediately goes, didn't we talk about this? Like, don't you know that like this is going to be like a pretty dangerous hike? And like even with boots on, this is going to be pretty rough to do. Amy goes, these are boots, but they're UGG. And they got the little heel on them. And I heard that this helps you bite into the mountain. It's kind of like cleats, but not. Chris highly skeptical. Chris like, yo, you're going to twist the ankle. You're going to get some shin splits or something. Like this is clearly, at the bare minimum, you're going to get blisters. Like, what are you doing right now? And Amy is like, don't press me. I Googled it. I read it. You ever see somebody Reddit it? It's like when you do something on Reddit. So when you read it, it's like Googled it. Just defining terms for those who don't know. There will be a glossary of terms at the end, but she Reddit it. So he's like, are you sure the people on Reddit actually know what they were talking about? Or like, did you get the right thread? She's getting annoyed. Chris feels an argument coming. He does one of these. He says, hey, you got it. You got it, man. Let's just go. Let's just enjoy the day. Let's have a fun time. Let's take these great photos. I'm ready for it if you are. Amy gets out of her feelings and says, okay, fine. If you're ready, I'm ready too. With her heels on and Lululemons. And she also got her hair done fresh. I don't know what she did that for. Personally, as a narrator, I shouldn't be interjecting like this, but she got her hair done because she wanted to take really good pictures at the top of the mountain. So she got it laid back. It's nice. She got a little baby hair. She got the gel. She looking good. She look good. She don't look functional, but she look good. So they ready. Boom. They going up the mountain. Adventure. They having a little light conversation. They bantering. They doing a little nudging. They kissing, cuddling a little bit. They holding hands. And they're just going down the path having a good time. And they're talking about how excited they are to get married soon and how fun their relationship has been and how just fun it's been. They haven't really had too many hurdles really at all since they've been together. They've had some arguments, they've had some disagreements, but as far as like just rough things in their path, there hasn't been too many of them. But Chris does acknowledge that he is usually the prepper in these situations, and Amy just kind of takes a backseat. Amy takes offense to that and starts to get riled up. You think I'm not good enough for you? Do you think that I'm a burden to you? Am I a burden? I think you're saying I'm a burden. Chris says, no, you're not a burden to me at all. Again, I'm just doing this. Or I was just bringing that up because, again, I'm just having a conversation. And I was just saying that, like, it'd be nice and it'd be helpful if you could help out a little bit more in these situations. Amy's not having it. She's getting pissed. She's stomping off straight down the trail and kind of leaves him a little bit, kind of like goes in front of him, cuts him off, and is taking in the sights herself. She's got her phone out. She's taking pictures. And Chris is like, I want to say something because I don't want you to use all of your battery life on your camera. We have backup packs and stuff, but we don't know how long we'll be out here. Lord knows what could happen. And you're snapping pictures of everything. We really got to save as much battery as we can for either an SOS message if something gets crazy, and or when we finally get to the top of the mountain, you have the better camera, so we got to be ready for that. Amy doesn't want to hear it, but she begrudgingly puts her phone on airplane mode and puts it in her pocket, which are Lululemon, by the way. So they do that, and they keep going. The path's pretty flat to this point. They're talking. Everybody loosens up again, and they're having fun. They're enjoying each other as you should in a relationship. And here comes the incline. Not very steep at first, but the incline slowly creeps up. And as they're creeping up this mountain, Chris is starting to get a little bit tired. Now he runs marathons. Chris runs often. He's constantly in the gym. And even he's starting to notice, because of the elevation change, he's getting a little winded and his muscles are starting to cramp just a little bit, but he can still go the distance. He's just having a little trouble at this point. With that awareness, he looks over at Amy, and Amy is completely heaving. She is deep breaths, rattling breaths coming in and out. And she's just doing everything she can to catch her breath. And Chris goes, wow, I feel so bad. Like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine, but please don't do too much. I feel like you're starting to be condescending. I think you're patronizing me a bit here. Just let me get through it. Chris like, all right, cool. We'll just keep pushing it. So they keep going. And that incline is just steady creeping up, steady creeping up, steady creeping up. And they get to a point where they're at a near 90-degree angle, it feels like. And I'm talking like their knees to chest almost as they're climbing this hill, and they're pumping arms, they're sweating, and they're just drenched in just humidity and sweat. And at this point, though the sun is out and it's a beautiful day and they can feel the warmth of the sun, the wind starts to whip. And with the sweat and the wind, Chris is like, oh man, actually starting to get cold, and like he's starting to shake a little bit. And he looks over at Amy, and Amy has not brought a jacket. She is over there, teeth chattering against each other. She's shaking and she's sweating, and she just looks miserable, y'all. So Chris does what any man would do. He says, hey, I brought you a second jacket. Boom. You thought this pack was for nothing? I'm smart. Boom. He pulls out a little light jacket for Amy. I figured that you would bring a denser jacket than this, but I brought you something, so I don't want you to freeze to death. Amy, oh my God, thank you so much, Chris. You're so great. This is why you're my fiance. You're the best in the world. This is why you're going to be a great dad and a great husband. Oh, I'm so excited. So she puts her jacket on, one sleeve, other sleeve. She puts it on. Oh, somehow that brought life back to both of them. Brought life to Amy because she was cold. Now she has at least some protection from the elements. Chris feels like he's done a great thing for her and being able to provide for her and protect her against the elements. It's a great time. They kiss, they make out, they keep going. Boom. So they keep going, marching up the hill. Boom, 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 boom. Legs starting to burn. Conversation starting to wear off because they're getting more tired. So there's less for them to talk about because now they're just focusing on getting uphill. And Chris starts to get hungry. Stomach starts to rumble a little bit, but he ignores it. And as they continue, he hears out of the corner, he's like, yo, is that a bear? I brought bear spray. He puts his hand on his hip. Snap, that's Amy's stomach. Amy, you good? Amy's like, yeah, I'm hungry, but like, I just wish I had anything. And Chris is like, I thought of that. So he puts his pack down, slides one shoulder off, other shoulder off, boom, slides the pack in front of him, zoop, unzips it, goes down the front pack, hands her some cashews. And Amy just stares at him and says, I hate cashews, and you know I hate cashews. What other woman you be giving cashews to? Because it's not me. If you know me, you know I hate cashews. And he said, I just brought a bunch of mixed nuts, and I just handed you the first one. There are cashews, almonds, peanuts, whatever you want. I also have like a couple protein bars. So if you want those, real cool as well. Amy, you know good and well ever since 2014, I haven't had a breakfast or protein bar. The government puts all kinds of pesticides and pork in their grains. And because of that, I could never eat something like this. You didn't get this from Sprouts or Whole Foods. What is this, Walmart? You got the great value protein bars. They chalky. She takes a bite of one because she's starving, but she's still talking mad greasy to Chris for no reason. She unwraps it, bites it as she's talking smack, and she's like, it's so dusty and it's gross. It's hard to chew. It tastes artificial like poison. I hate this. Chris, why would you bring this? And Chris is like, well, it's the easiest thing to pack, man. Like, I'm just trying to pack something. I could have packed nothing, but like, I was just trying to pack fast, and I figured that you pack things in your bag as well. Did you pack any snacks? Amy goes, no, I didn't pack snacks because I knew you'd pack snacks, but I knew you'd pack things that we like. And had I known this, I would have packed my own snacks. Chris goes, my bad. I didn't know. Again, I'm sorry. Like, I apologize. You at least want water to wash this down? Amy's like, yeah, at least you packed water. At least you did something right. So Chris is like, whoa, all this talk is crazy. Like, he's slowly getting offended, but again, he's just glad to be there with his fiance. And he's like, don't poke the bear. The more you poke the bear, the less fun we're going to have because she's going to get mad. She's going to spiral and it's going to be this whole other thing. And they will never get to the top of the mountain. It'll be a trip wasted. So he hands her the water and they keep going. So they're talking and they're enjoying their time. And Amy just spits all the water out, throws the water bottle off a cliff, and says, Chris, are you trying to kill me? Chris goes, what? She says, was that Arrowhead water? And Chris is like, what are you talking about? There's water. And she's like, I only drink the most basic water there is. If it's not above 7 on a pH scale, I cannot drink it. It is acidic. If it is below 7, I only drink like 7.4 to like 8. What did you do a pH test on this water? What is this mineralized water? What is this? What electrolytes were in that water? Chris is mad at this point. He's like, hey, yo, look, I've done everything I can to make sure that you had a good trip, but like, you're really not taking any of this in stride. Amy notices it. She apologizes and says, I understand. If anything, I should have brought my own water because I know you wouldn't have gotten the right water anyway. That's on me for believing that you could get the right water. Chris is super confused because is that accountability, but also is there like a slight in there? What's going on? And as they're regrouping and everyone's trying to figure out what's going on, this guy comes out of the woods from further along the trail and greets them. Hey, strangers, how are you doing? They look at the guy, kind of alarmed. Well, this guy really came out of nowhere, and that's startling for anybody. And they look him over, up and down, and he just looks like a middle-aged dad. He looks very unassuming. He looks like, he's definitely not a threat or there to potentially be an issue for any reason. And friendly enough, but it was weird that like it's not hot, but again, like it's bright out, and like if you're still out there pumping arms and you're doing all this work, he should be sweating, but he's not. He looks in good spirits. He's getting through it. And Chris asks, like, hey man, I'm Chris, and can I ask, where are you coming from, and who are you? Like, what do you do? And the guy says, I'm the voice of the mountain. Chris is kind of taken back. He's like, the voice of the mountain? What is that? And the guy goes, I speak for the mountain. I have a cool ability to make the straight paths elevated if I need to, and to lower the elevated paths if I need to as well. I can do that for myself and for those who I need to help. And Chris is like, oh my God, thanks. Like, that'd be so helpful. So what are the terms? And the guide says, so long as both of you guys make it to the end, there is no penalty. The only thing I ask for you guys is to be as even as possible. So what I'll do for you is somebody's got to hike this mountain. You got to make it to the top. And there's no way to completely go there on a flat surface unless one person hikes higher than the other. So where one person hikes higher or at an increased elevation, the elevation is lowered or flattened for the other person. Chris said, oh man, that's really convenient because I'm more of a hiker. I'm more fit than my fiance here. So I'm sure there are points where we can trade off. She says that she hikes from time to time, and maybe I can hike some points that are a little bit higher so she can have it a little bit lower and a little bit flatter. And maybe there are times where she can hike a little bit higher and it can be a little bit flatter for me. But I'll try to take the lion's share so that, again, just trying to make it equitable. The guide says, okay, Amy, do you agree? They look over at Amy, and Amy's on her phone and she's live streaming the experience, and she's taking in all the sights with her phone and trying to get a panoramic view of the mountains and the cliffs and the lakes and the bushes that they see. And Chris says, I speak for the group of us. We're fine. That works for both of us. Amy goes, huh? Yeah. He doesn't speak for me, but like, yeah, that sounds good to me too. Okay, cool. So the guide says, well, on your way, and just know anytime you want it to increase for you and decrease for the other person, say up. If you want to smooth out your path and make it easier for yourself, and then the other person have more of an incline, just say down and ready to go. Chris says, all right, got it. Very simple directions. Up for up, down for down. Cool. So they head off, and the slope continues to crawl up, and they're talking, the day passes, and they kind of forget about the guide to an extent, right? Until, again, that incline really starts to incline. That incline really kicks up, and they're going over boulders. They're going over little cliff faces. They're having to hop across little streams and stuff. And all the while, the mountain's going up, 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 up. So Chris says, hey, this might be a good opportunity since you're struggling so much, Amy. I can take a little more if you don't mind. She goes, are you sure? Chris goes, yeah, of course. Like, whatever for you. So Amy goes, okay, if you're sure, I'm completely fine with that. So Chris looks up to the heavens and he says, and almost miraculously, the ground breaks and it gets way more steep under Chris's feet. And he's like, whoa, this is a lot. And the path in front of him really goes up. Meanwhile, for Amy, it goes down. It starts to flatten, right? Almost like you're putting your foot on a brake pedal or gas pedal. It starts to go down ever so slightly for her. And Chris says, stop, that's good enough. After it rose just enough for him and enough to make it just kind of flat for Amy. He looks down at his fiance and says, are you good? She gives him the double thumbs up and the smile and says, that's perfect, Chris. Thank you. And they continue forward. They're talking, they're having a good time. And again, the incline kicks up a little bit more. Chris is out of breath. She's out of breath. And Amy says, hey, if we want to make time, we should probably quicken the pace a little bit. And Chris goes, yeah, you're right. We probably should. We need to pick this up. So he looks up again and he says, up. And the ground up under Chris starts to increase. And the ground up under Amy starts to go down a little bit. So at this point, they're both still going up. And they're close enough where they can see each other and they can still talk using their normal voices. But it's flatter for Amy. She's still going down the incline up, but it's a little bit flatter for her. And Chris, he's really dragging. He's taking long, labored steps going forward, really striding it out. And it's kind of like he's lunging, trying to get up this hill. And he's just fixated on when we get up to the top, me and my fiance will take these beautiful pictures. We'll send these announcements out. And this will be a great way to say that, hey, I'm getting married to my fiance. This is going to be a great time. And it's going to preamble a beautiful marriage. Amy's just really fixated on taking this picture for the gram. She's having a good time, but she's really complaining. The more that they hike, the more that her hair is starting to come undone. The strands that she perfectly smoothed back are starting to stick out and frizz out. Little baby hairs that she laid as she's starting to sweat, starting to come undone. And that's when she says, Chris, we need to stop. So they stop and he crawls down his little inclined face to get down to her and says, hey, yeah, what's up, babe? And she says, I feel like I look a mess. Do you mind going in my bag and getting my mirror out? Chris is like, you had a room in your pack for a mirror? Because Chris packed tight. He had food, he had pots, he had pans, he had a little griddle to put on top of a fire so that if they needed to stop and maybe hunt or maybe take some roasted vegetables together and eat a more hearty meal, that they could do that in this pseudo camping experience just in case. So he was like, you have room for a mirror in there? All right, cool. Well, sure. Like, let me look in this pack. So he takes off her pack and starts going through her kit. What does she have in here? And as he's looking for the mirror, he finds none other than this big old bag of Fenty makeup in this Kylie Jenner bag. And he like, hey, yo, like, this is what you packed? And he's going through and he sees outfit after outfit after outfit after outfit and other pairs of heels in there. There's sweatbands in there and there's all this other cute stuff, a couple packs of like headphones. And Chris is like so confused. He's like, first of all, I don't see a mirror in here, but also like, this is the stuff you packed? Like, what if I didn't pack something? Like, what if I didn't double check my list straight? And she looks at him and Amy puts her hand on Chris's face and goes, I'm sure you did, but if you didn't, I'm sure we'll be fine. Chris is now worried. He hasn't been worried this entire trip, and he's never worried on this trip. Anytime he goes on these types of adventures, he triple checks his bag, and he always has a buddy around who has some type of redundant item that he might have. If he brought batteries for a camera or for a compass or a flashlight, sometimes those spares might not work. And usually one of his buddies has a similar kit that also has the same stuff, and they have that second battery that he might need. They might have that, other protein bar or something that, he be looking for. Always someone who has everything that they need as they're making these treks across their adventure points. So he's looking for this mirror, can't find it. And she gets really irate with Chris. You never pack for me. You're never looking out for me. Why don't you have my mirror? You know how I'm always looking to see how I look. And that's a point of insecurity for me. If I don't know how I look, then I assume I look bad. I don't know what angles we're going to take these pictures from. We came all the way up here for good pictures. If we take bad pictures, then what's the point? Then we can't use them. And then we just wasted a whole day out here. Chris, you know better than this. Chris tries to keep his calm, tries to keep his cool. And he's like, whatever. At this point, Chris is almost non-responsive. He doesn't want to talk anymore. And he's just focused on, let's just get to the top of this mountain, take these pictures, and get out of here. I'm kind of sorry that we even came out here. This is ridiculous. And all she's doing is complaining. She didn't pack anything for this trip that she should have. But whatever. That's my fiance. I love her. We're going to keep moving. So they keep going. Chris takes his incline. Amy, she keeps going at the pace and at the incline that she's at, which again, significantly lower than Chris. They go for an hour, another hour, 3 hours into this, and Chris's legs are burning. And he hears Amy say something, and all he knows is, they haven't been talking much, and she should have that phone off by now because she should be trying to conserve that battery life on the phone. Without the battery life, what if something happens? And again, what if they make it to the top and everybody's phone's dead? Bro, what are you doing? So he looks over to question what she's doing, and all of a sudden, he hears the ground shake under him, and it goes boom, and his incline goes up again. And he can hear very faintly Amy shouting, down, 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 down. And he looks over, and the ground under her feet is just moving down, 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 and down so much so that she's not even walking a straight path anymore. It looks like she's going down an escalator, and it's all downhill for her. Meanwhile, the path in front of Chris looks like he's almost going to have to crawl up a mountain. He's going to have to scale this thing like a cliff face. They're so far apart now that he can't even communicate to Amy, hey, can you change it? Can you make it down for me so that I can at least walk? I literally can't walk now. But Chris says, what? She must have hurt herself or injured herself. And that's the only reason she would make it so unfair for me right now. So Chris grits his teeth. He says, this is what men do. I'll take it on the chin from my lady. Let's go. So he puts his pack down and he gets out his climbing equipment, and he's now scaling the side of this mountain. Click, clack, click, clack. He's pulling straps out. He's making all these loops and all these knots and stuff. And he lassos a rock, and he starts pulling himself up with his arms. Arm is burning. His lower back is burning. His whole body's on fire right now, but he's making it up. And then he hears something muffled over the wind. And then he's like, what is going on? Last time I heard something, it was Amy. And all of a sudden, the cliff that he's climbing starts to flatten out, flatten out, flatten out, flatten out, flatten out, and to the point where his feet are on the ground again, and Amy's right beside him. And he says, hey, are you okay? I figured something happened to you. Are you good? What's going on? And Amy goes, no, I'm perfectly fine. I just got tired, and I just figured that you look like you weren't having a rough time climbing the mountain, so why not make it a little bit more challenging for you? I know you like a challenge. I know you like to have fun with this, so why not just make it more challenging. And for me, I was just getting kind of tired of it. And I felt like we'd get there a little bit faster if I could go downhill. And I always wanted to see these flowers on the other side of the ridge. The only way to see them was if I was going downhill versus uphill. So I just figured that'd be okay with you. Chris is astonished because for the past hour, he's been scaling the side of a cliff. He's got scrapes and his arms are burning. It's been a full body workout for him. And again, she's touching up her makeup and just taking pictures of, lilies and other, flora and fauna on the side of the road. And he's just like, what? He's really in disbelief. And he's just in awe of what's happening. And Amy looks at him with hopeful eyes. And he's like, there's no way she's not about to apologize right now. She's about to say, I'm so sorry, because she can see the look on my face. She can see how tired I am. And she goes, I'm actually really, really cold right now. Since I've been walking downhill, the breeze is picking up. Do you mind if I take your jacket? And Chris's jaw just drops. You want my jacket? And she's like, yeah, that's the chivalrous thing to do. Give me your jacket. So Chris is like, what the? All right. So Chris takes his pack off again, unbuckles everything, takes off his thick winter jacket, gives it to Amy. She smiles and says, thank you so much. It's too big for me and it smells like you. Have you been sweating inside of here? The armpits are wet inside. Oh, this is so gross. Oh, I'll take it. And it smells weird. Have you left this in the garage again? I'll take it. Anyway, you ready? And he looks at her and goes, yeah, I'm ready if you are. And she says, let's go. Down, 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 down. So, as normal, the road goes down for Amy, and it goes up for Chris. Chris is, again, glad he took his hiking or his mountain scaling stuff out. Again, he's going up the mountainside. Click, clack, click, clack, digging in. He's got the spike in the bottom of his boots, and he's just crawling up the mountain. Time passes, and it feels like the cliff face is starting to flatten out for itself, and he can see over the top. And he yells down, hey, Amy, we're almost there. Do you want to maybe straighten it out, and then we can approach the top together? And Amy looks up at him and shakes her head. No, I'm good. It's fine. You just keep going. I'll meet you there. So Amy keeps going down and Chris keeps going up. And eventually, Chris goes, boom, boom. And he has both hands in his chin over the top of the cliff face. And he can see, we're there. We're at the top. So he puts a hand flat on part of the cliff. He puts the other hand flat. And he kind of pushes down and hoists himself up. So he can see, gets a leg over, gets the other leg over, pulls himself forward, and stands up. Whew, and out of breath, but so fulfilled. He's made it. He's ready. Oh my God, we made it on the other side of the hill. And Amy pops up right beside him. And she hugs him. Chris, we've made it. We've made it. We've made it. We've finally made it to the top of the mountain. Are you ready to take our picture? And Chris just stares out over the ridgeline, and he sees the lake, and he sees the birds flying across, and all the other mountains. And those mountains are just beautiful. They're actually more beautiful than the mountain that they're on, but like the point that they're sitting on is the perfect place to really soak in the moment and to see every other mountain. He doesn't believe that from the top of any other mountain, he'd be able to see the rest of them in all of their splendor. And Amy goes, are you ready to take our picture? And Chris goes, yeah, let's take that picture. So they set up a tripod and Amy's just going at it. And she's taking picture after picture after picture. And she says, Chris, take the camera, take a picture of just me. And she's doing the poses. She's got the arms out. She's smiling. She's doing peace sign. She's doing duck lips. She's kicking one heel back. She's doing all the poses. She says, give me my phone back real quick. And she takes it. She goes to TikTok. She finds all these poses that she has saved, all these individual poses, and she does them. And Chris is a good sport. He takes every last one of those pictures. He's on the ground. there's a tree nearby. He gets up in the tree. He's taking some above aerial shots. He's getting on the rock. He's taking every picture from every angle that will satisfy Amy. And she's just smiling from ear to ear, and she hugs him around the waist. Chris, thank you so much. And she finally looks over at the ridgeline and all the other mountains and says, baby, thank you so much for bringing me here. And thank you so much for all that you've done. I'm really starting to realize how great of a guy you are, and what an amazing husband, and what an amazing dad you will be. I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. But first, are you ready to tackle all these mountains in front of us? I think we can do it. And I think we should make a habit of maybe doing a mountain, maybe quarterly or every month, as often as we can. I just want to go over more and more mountains with you. And Chris says, yeah, I can't wait to scale these too. But by myself, you won't be going with me on the next journey. And that's the story of the mountain. For this story, I'm going to open it up to you guys. Who do you think the real antagonist and the real protagonist of this story was? Do you think that there are things that could have been improved on either person's side as far as how they prepared to go on this trip? Do you think that there are other cues of communication that should have cued that they should have either turned around, or things that they should have talked about prior to committing to going forward? What do you guys think the point of the voice of the mountain was? That guide, the middle-aged guy that came and kind of gave him the special powers to go up or down. What do you think his role in the story is? How do you think he functions? And I also want to turn it back on you guys as well to think, are there mountains in life where you feel like it is better to go alone? Or if you do remember, Chris is no stranger to scaling mountains like this. He's no stranger to going on adventurous hikes and having these big outdoorsy moments. And would he have been better suited going with his friends instead of with Amy? Is there a reason maybe why Amy didn't go to those other engagements with Chris? Did he want her to go? Did he not want her to go? Was it maybe her own choice? What do you guys think? And again, in our own lives, are there moments where, dang, it's just better to go at it by myself? Or do you think in those moments, I got my people, this is my crew, I'm a ride or die for them, we're going to keep putting the team on our back until we get to this first mountain? And maybe there's a conversation that's had at the top of the mountain. The pictures, what do you think the pictures at the end represent? And why do you think nobody who had made it to the top of the mountain before spoke about the terrain or the topography? Why do you think the people before in the story, why do you think they didn't really explain what was going on? And what role do you think they serve or function in the story? I hope you guys enjoyed this one. There are many more to go. Again, we're probably 50 stories deep. Yes, 49 at this point. We're going to keep telling these as soon and as often as possible. Look for weekly drops. And again, I appreciate you guys so much. You've been listening to the Life of Logos podcast. Again, this is Storytime with Ken. I'm Ken. And until next time, keep living your story and be the best you can be. Take care.